For 500 years, history books have told us that the Amazon rainforest was a pristine, untouched wilderness, hostile to human life and impossible to tame. But what Lidar just found in the Amazon has shattered that illusion, revealing a truth so massive it forces us to rewrite the history of the Americas. Deep beneath the canopy of the Ecuadorian jungle, laser technology has stripped away the trees to reveal not just a few scattered ruins, but a sprawling, engineered megalopolis that rivals the scale of ancient Rome. This is not a story about a lost tribe hiding in the bushes. It is the story of a lost superpower. To understand the magnitude of this discovery, we have to go back to 1541. A Spanish conquistador named Francisco de Orellana drifted down the Amazon River, desperate and starving, in search of the city of gold. His chronicler, Gaspar de Carvajal, wrote a terrifying and awe-inspiring account of what they saw. He described riverbanks lined with gleaming white cities that stretched for miles, massive road networks, and populations so dense that the Spanish didn't pass a gap in the settlements for an entire day. When Carvajal returned to Europe, he was laughed out of court. Historians called him a liar, a fantasist who had hallucinated in the heat. They argued that the Amazon soil was too toxic to support large civilizations, that the green hell could never sustain a population of millions. For centuries, Carvajal's journals were dismissed as fiction. But in January 2024, a team of archaeologists led by Stephen Rostaine used Lidar technology to scan the Upano Valley in Ecuador, and they found something that vindicates Carvajal 5 centuries later. The sensors penetrated the dense foliage and revealed a complex network of 6,000 earthen mounds, agricultural plazas, and, most shockingly, wide straight highways connecting cities across a distance of hundreds of square kilometers. We are not looking at nature anymore. We are looking at a garden that has gone wild. The pristine wilderness we see today is actually a graveyard, a post-apocalyptic landscape covering the bones of a civilization that mastered the jungle long before Europeans arrived. The scale of this discovery is difficult to comprehend without looking at the raw data from the Lidar scans. What the Lidar revealed in the Upano Valley is not a collection of stone temples like the Maya or the Inca, which is why we missed it for so long. These people didn't build with stone, they built with earth. The scans show over 6,000 rectangular earthen platforms arranged in precise geometric patterns around central plazas. These weren't just huts. They were massive foundations, some up to 10 meters tall, designed to keep homes and ceremonial centers dry above the muddy jungle floor. But the real smoking gun that proves this was a sophisticated state and not just a tribal gathering is the road network. Lidar shows a system of straight, wide roads connecting these urban centers. And when I say wide, I mean massive. Some of these roads are 33 feet across. That is wider than many modern 2-lane highways. They extend for 10 to 15 miles, cutting through the landscape with absolute precision. The engineers who built these didn't follow the path of least resistance. They didn't wind around hills like animal trails do. The Lidar shows that when a road met a hill, they dug through it. When it met a ravine, they built up the earth to cross it. This requires central planning, mathematics, and a massive labor force. It suggests a level of political organization that historians insisted was impossible in the Amazon. We are calling this agrarian urbanism. Unlike European cities of the time, which were cramped, walled, and filthy, the Upano cities were garden cities. Low density, but endless. The urban grid was integrated with farmland, stretching out like a vast green suburbia that covered the valley floor. And the most mind-bending part? Carbon dating puts this civilization between 500 BC and 600 CE. While the Roman Republic was fighting for control of the Mediterranean, the people of the Amazon had already built a continental network of highways. Before we look at the technology that made this possible, we have to understand why this discovery was considered impossible by science for so long. The Amazon rainforest is a biological paradox. It has the most diverse plant life on Earth, yet the soil itself is incredibly poor. It is highly acidic and full of aluminum, which is toxic to most crops. If you cut down the trees to farm, The rain washes away the nutrients in 2 or 3 years, leaving you with useless red clay. This is why slash-and-burn agriculture forces tribes to keep moving. It is the primary reason archaeologists argued that a stationary city of millions could never exist here. They would starve to death within a decade. So how did the Upano people and other Amazonian civilizations sustain populations of 10, 20, or perhaps even 50,000 people in one location for 1,000 years? They didn't just adapt to the environment, they geoengineered it. They created a technology that modern science is still struggling to fully replicate. They invented a new kind of soil. The solution to the starvation problem is found beneath our feet in patches of earth known as Terra Preta do Indio, or Amazonian dark earth. Unlike the surrounding red and yellow clay, Terra Preta is jet black, rich in nutrients, and incredibly fertile. But the most important fact about Terra Preta is that it is not natural. It is an artifact. It was manufactured. The ancient Amazonians developed a complex recipe to terraform the jungle floor. They mixed charcoal, specifically biochar created by burning wood at low temperatures, with bone dust, broken pottery, manure, and organic compost. The charcoal acts like a coral reef for soil bacteria. It is highly porous, trapping moisture and nutrients so they don't wash away in the rain. The broken pottery shards found in the soil weren't trash. They were likely added intentionally to help aerate the soil and provide structure. This wasn't just farming, this was biotechnology. But the sophistication didn't stop at the soil. The Lidar scans in the surrounding regions have revealed something even more unsettling: geoglyphs. These are massive geometric shapes, perfect squares, circles, and octagons carved into the earth that are invisible from the ground but perfectly clear from the sky. When archaeologists analyzed the alignment of these structures, they realized they weren't random. They are astronomical calendars. Many of the roads and walls line up perfectly with the solstice sun or specific constellations. This implies that the people of the Amazon weren't just master biologists. They were master astronomers who built their cities to mirror the stars. They were tracking time on a cosmic scale, likely coordinating their agriculture and rituals with a precision that rivals the Egyptians or the Mayans. Here is where it gets truly sci-fi. Terra Preta behaves like a living organism. Farmers in Brazil today who work on patches of ancient Terra Preta report that the soil regenerates. If they dig out a layer of this black earth to sell or use, the layer below it will expand and grow back over roughly 20 years, provided the right microbiome is present. We are looking at a civilization that created a self-sustaining, self-healing agricultural system that has remained fertile for 2,500 years after they vanished. If you had to choose a foundation for a civilization, would you choose the stone of the Romans, which lasts forever but cannot feed you, or the living earth of the Amazon, which feeds you but disappears when you leave? Let me know in the comments. Type stone or earth. It's a debate between permanence and sustainability that we are still fighting today. This technology allowed the Upano culture to thrive for over 1,000 years, but it also deepens the mystery of their disappearance. If they had the roads, the cities, and the food to support millions, where did they go? Why did the jungle swallow them? The tragedy of the Amazon is not that it was never civilized, but that its civilization was wiped out before we even knew it existed. The Lidar scans show us the bones of the cities, but the silence of the jungle tells the story of the fall. When Orellana sailed down the river in 1542, he likely saw the final twilight of this world. He saw the bustling ports and the warriors on the banks, but he carried with him an invisible weapon: smallpox. In Europe, the Black Death moved slowly, carried by rats and fleas. In the Americas, disease moved faster than the explorers. It traveled along those magnificent trade superhighways the Lidar just revealed. It moved from the coast to the Andes and down into the Amazon basin, passed from trader to trader. By the time the next wave of European explorers arrived a century later, the cities were silent. 90 to 95% of the population had been eradicated by pathogens. With no one left to maintain the earthworks, the wooden structures rotted away in the humidity. The forest, fed by the superfertile Terra Preta, exploded in growth, reclaiming the roads and plazas in a matter of decades. The pristine wilderness that conservationists fight to protect today is actually an overgrown garden. The massive fruit trees and concentration of useful plants in the Amazon are not random. They are the legacy of orchards planted by a people who died watching their world collapse. At Ancient Chronicles HD, our mission is to peel back these layers of history, using the latest technology to verify the oldest legends. We believe that the history of humanity is far older and far more advanced than we have been led to believe. If you want to join us as we decode the next piece of the puzzle, make sure you are subscribed. We are currently analyzing Lidar data from Central America that might reveal the next chapter of this story. The discovery in the Upano Valley is just the beginning. The scanned area represents a fraction of a percent of the Amazon basin. If we extrapolate the density of the Upano settlement across the entire Amazon, we are looking at a potential pre-Columbian population of 5 to 10 million people, perhaps even more. This changes everything. It means the Americas were not a sparsely populated backwater waiting to be civilized by Europe. They were a bustling, thriving center of human innovation that had solved problems of sustainability that we are still struggling with today. Lidar has given us the eyes to see the truth. The Amazon is not a trap. It is a monument. The greatest city on earth wasn't built of marble, it was built of earth and wood, and it is waiting for us to find it.